This video is an open letter to Daddy Falana ASN. Sir, with all due respect, we sincerely want to appeal to you to have a second thought about you taking Very Dark Man to court. Not because that in the course of him airing out that particular audio, his commentary in that audio left room for innuendos. And these innuendos can have different interpretation. And of course, some persons who seem not to understand the cause of this particular discussion must have thought in other ways that Very Dark Man was accusing Faz or yourself of perversing justice, or if possible, taking bribe or being engaged in one or two activity. Sir, I can assure you without missing words that it was never the intention of Very Dark Man to insinuate those actions. In fact, when he spoke those words, he left them on a question mark. Sir, I also want you to have a rethink on taking Very Dark Man to court, because one, instead of us to focus on the main issue, which is exposing the injustice in the society, the marginalization and the reinterpretation of the law to suit a specific set of persons who now feel that they are above the law as long as they have money. Sir, I also want you to have a rethink on taking Very Dark Man to court at this time, at this moment. Why? Because it's going to take our attention away from the main cause or the main discussion here. Rather than for us to hold the voice, why don't we hold the source responsible for their action? I think at this stage, Bobrisky should be called out to prove the audio signaled out by Very Dark Man either to be true or wrong. It should stand before a competent court of justice and let us know how true or how false that record is. And if he's able to convince a competent court of justice beyond all reasonable doubt that the audio shared by Very Dark Man is false and the evidence are glaring, then we can turn to call Very Dark Man out to pull out that audio and bring out the source of that audio and defend his words. Sir, at this minute, we are also appealing for you to have a rethink on taking Very Dark Man to court, because why? We are going to leave the defense of the people exposed. These days, our defense, our security agency are more interested in manufacturing, extorting money for their own personal gain, rather than focusing on the mandate in which they were established, which is protecting lives and properties. Sir, most of us today are being signaled, are being stigmatized by the Nigerian police force as well as every other security agencies. And before we are giving our voice, or before our voice is being heard today, sir, we have to pay a certain amount of money. Else, we've been thrown into the dungeon without our people knowing where we are. This course in which Very Dark Man has undertaken is going to once more give the people voice to oppose their oppressors. Sir, if you are not aware, some officials demanded, allegedly, for 15 million so they could perverse justice by removing a money laundering scheme away from the charges established for Bobrisky. Taking Very Dark Man to court might ensure that some of these officers are let loose. Now, sir, who will be their next victim? We demand fairness, we demand equity, we demand justice, and taking Very Dark Man to court might expose us and leave us short-handed. Sir, I also want to appeal to you that please do not take Very Dark Man to court. Because why? Taking Very Dark Man to court is going to keep the people at bay from speaking their voice. It is going to let Nigerians know that anybody who stands up for what is right, anybody who stands up for what is just, will be put down and be torn down by the society and those that are higher than him. Whistleblowers, analysts, people who heard their independent opinion will have to face the law courts. And if they do not have enough money for them to bribe their way through, they might end up behind bars simply because they stood or they stand for justice and they stand for truth. Looking at your years of experience in the legal sector, sir, looking at your contribution to humanity, sir, we understand that you've always stood by the people. We understand that you've always demanded justice for the common man. We understand that even the pardon being said, you've always sought it even for the condemned because you value human life. Sir, please, sir, it is hard time you stand behind very dark man, sir. I understand the need for us to preserve the name, the need for us to ensure that the Falana name is not be stained or dented. Sir, I can assure you that we Nigerians, we to take more than just an audio recording for such a dent to be spilled on the name of Falana. Because why? You have exceeded the levels of so many other persons in your profession, and you've been diligent and kind to mankind in general. Sir, please, sir, we are also appealing that this is not the best time to take very dark man to court, as the voice of the people might be cut short in this case. As I speak to you, sir, as you must have heard, some persons were told to stay in a VIP session. Sir, where in this world do we have a VIP session in the cell? Where in this world should some persons be treated above some other persons simply because of their financial background? I will sincerely want to appeal to you, sir, that information coming out to the public allege that Bobrisky only stayed 3 weeks inside Kirikiri before he was lodged outside. Sir, with all fairness, is this right? If we take very dark man to court, can't you see that we'll be unable to follow up this cause? As I speak to you now, sir, no petition has been written against Bobrisky. No invitation letter we've seen written to Bobrisky, but rather we've seen so many invitations, so many queries, so many things sent to very dark man. Sir, how about if we focus on the source of the problem? I'm just a young boy, sir, who grew up knowing about your mighty stride in the legal setup. And I sincerely want to plead to you that on behalf of many, we plead with you, please do not take very dark man to court, as it will serve as a distraction from the main issue. God bless you, sir. Please, I want you guys to help us share this video so that it can get to the ears of the great Femi Falana, as well as Fast, our very own bad guy. Thank you.
Honestly, my people, this guy just said nothing but the truth. The reason why that the Falana should not take very dark man to court. We all know that if this guy's court issue starts now or begins, it will seem as if Bobrisky is innocent. And this Bobrisky issue stuff, they will just say, overlook it. They will not tackle the main issue here. And looking at how Nigerians are suffering the hands of Nigerian security persons like both Nigerian police and others. So I don't see any reasons why Bobrisky should scot free without going back to prison to complete his term. Bobrisky came out from prison when it is not up to 6 months that was given to him to stay in prison. Not just that alone, he came out looking so fresh. But I don't see person when enter prison before can't look fresh. Like I speak that one in broken. I've not seen someone that went to prison and come out strongly looking fresh like Bobrisky looked when he came out. Honestly, even the prisoner's officer doesn't even know how to, call Bobrisky. That his body looked like a woman, this and that, that and this. They don't know if he's a woman or a man, but he proclaimed in the law of in the court of law that he's a man, that his Bola is still intact, this and that, that and this. But come off it, this person said that he's a man. That what obstructed people from putting him to jail? Male inmates. Why not putting him in that male prison? Why renting a special apartment for Bobrisky? And why charging 15? If you want to remove any particular court case, like you guys removed what they call it, money laundering, you shouldn't have charged him money. It should have been from his lawyer. Okay, the lawyer would have made sure that yes, this particular allegation or this particular case is being removed from the Bobrisky case. So it's now, it's now obvious that the rich people can do anything in Nigeria and maneuver it. Then how are we fighting the corruption that we are saying that we're fighting corruption? How can Nigeria be a better country? Does it mean that there are a percentage of people that will suffer, that are meant to suffer in Nigeria, and there are people that are meant to enjoy even while they committed a crime? Bobrisky, pleaded guilty of all this crime. He was not forced. He pleaded guilty with his mouth, and then he went in for it. Then why did the prison officers not do the needful, as courts have proven? It is well, my people. Don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned.